So the Arizona Cardinals are making a lot of buzz in social media. A couple of videos ago, I did post the Caleb Williams video, even though that was almost 2 weeks ago. I was talking about how the Cardinals did discuss they were going to look at all quarterbacks, especially Caleb Williams, and I kind of signaled that, hey, they're most likely leaning towards tanking for Caleb Williams and probably moving off of Kyler Murray. Well, it seems like this video is going to kind of add more to that and kind of solidify that the Cardinals are probably going to be the first overall pick in 2024 with adding all things together. The big thing they're getting accused of, no doubt, is tanking with some of the big moves they had today or last couple of days that have really shocked people. As you see from Isaiah Simmons and Josh Jones, the trades. It says expectations for the Cardinals are not high this season with starting quarterback Kyler Murray out for an intermediate amount of time with the injury and the roster full of question marks. But are the Cardinals purposely trying to lose games in 2023? We'll get to the Kyler Murray part in a second, the other part of it as well. Social media debated the question in the aftermath of Arizona trading former first-round pick Isaiah Simmons and former third-round pick Josh Jones for a limited return on Thursday, prompting whether the team was in fact tanking or trying to tank this season. So first and foremost, before you even try and get any further, yes, it is tanking. When you see the return that they got, especially for Isaiah Simmons, that trade should be investigated, honestly, for tanking, because it is insane. Not saying Isaiah Simmons was worthy of a top 10 pick, looking back at or seeing how he is now, but he's not worth what he got. If you just look at some of the trades, reading off the three that they have made, starting with Isaiah Simmons. Now, mind you, he was the 8th overall pick in 2020. Mind you that. They traded Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, defensive back, for a 2024 7th round pick to the New York Giants. I mean, I'm not saying he was as good as, he's been as good as what he was advertised coming out. People, when he came out saying he was an absolute freak of an athlete and so forth, he was going to be a game changer. He's way better than a 7th round pick. I'm sorry, he is. Like, that alone should be investigated for something, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Looking at it from the Cardinals, as a fan perspective for the Cardinals, as a Giants, they got an absolute steal. Like, honestly, that is unbelievable. They traded a 7th round pick for, we say a top 10, prospect, really. Again, not saying he lived up to that, but that is absolute steal for the Giants, and that is criminal what the Cardinals did for that, moving off of a piece, and that move alone should just tell you the direction they are heading towards. Getting to Josh Jones, 3rd round pick in that same draft class, the 72nd overall pick. They traded Josh Jones and a 2024 7th for a 2024 5th round pick to New York, as the Houston Texans. Again, don't know too much about him. Don't want to make huge comments if he did pan or not. I'm not the best with offensive linemen following him, especially for players in general for the Cardinals. But I like to think that that's probably a bad trade. Again, don't know too much about him. Who knows? People might say he definitely was a horrible player. Not sure, but I would probably assume based off the Isaiah Simmons trade that this was a horrible one as that. And on top of that, too, they traded a 2024 5th. I don't know if it's the 5th from the Texans they got from the Josh Jones, but they traded a 2024 5th for quarterback Josh Dobbs and a 2024 7th to the Cleveland Browns. Now, kind of reading more into the, getting back into the article, as many believe the Cardinals, with new GM and new head coach this season, could attempt to take a quarterback very early in the 2024 draft. Caleb Williams, Drake May be mentioned as possibilities. Well, they definitely are possibilities if they're going to be a high pick. There's no question that one of those two guys will be the starting quarterback next year, and try to move on from Kyler Murray's large contract. It says Arizona could be in line for another high first-round pick if the Houston Texans struggle as predicted this season after acquiring the team's pick on draft night in 2023. Now, I did like the Cardinals draft. I think overall they didn't do too bad, especially in the first round. I feel they got a great pick in the I forget his name offhand, the tackle from Ohio State. And it definitely pairs up to what, this definitely could be an amazing 2024 draft, especially with the first two picks. If, let's say, worst case scenario, the Houston Texans are the second worst team and the Cardinals are the worst team in the draft, you have picks 1 and 2. You could get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's unbelievable. Like, that's A+ right off the bat. But we're not focusing on 2024 right now. We're focusing on the 2023 season before we even get to that. And switching back to the Kyler Murray room, the whole speculation about his injury, I will be posting both these down below. The article from Yahoo Sports and also from NFL notifications from X or Spectrum, or not Spectrum, my bad, Twitter. My apologies, kind of had the TV on and kind of popped in my head. Sorry, X or Twitter. If you go to not NFL notifications, JPAFootball, it says rumors. The Cardinals are privately telling people that Kyler Murray is more than likely not expected to play this year, per PFN 365. The Cardinals gave Kyler Murray a 5-year, $230.5 million extension in July of 2022, but a lot has changed for the organization since then in a negative way. The team the team changed head coach and GM, has lost multiple core players, and could look to draft USC sensation Caleb Williams if they pick first overall. Now, I think we can kind of settle this debate for looking at early 2024. I know it says Drake May or Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams will be the first overall pick regardless. I view this as the same situation as Trevor Lawrence. Many people are kind of labeling a generational talent. So people are going as far as say Patrick Mahomes. I want to go that far, even though I'm a huge Caleb Williams fan, especially going back when he was with Oklahoma for my team. He will be an unbelievable player. I don't want to go as far as to say as Patrick Mahomes, but no doubt he will be the first overall pick regardless. Even if Drake May has an amazing season, Caleb Williams will be the first overall pick unless, knock on wood, nothing bad happens to him, barring injury or anything like that. He will be the first overall pick. And even if he had an injury in his last year, that he will be the first overall pick. So getting back to it, again, it's getting back to the whole thing. The Arizona Cardinals, looking at these moves, and if we're buying the rumors that they are privately telling people that Kyler Murray will not be playing the entirety of the 2024 season, yeah, it signals that. Especially when you look at the Browns trade for Josh Dobbs. Is this a situation where they're most likely leaning towards Josh Dobbs being the starter for the entire season, or is this going to be just bringing another rotational player, seeing what he does with the final preseason game? Now, this might be a little too late for him to be in the third preseason game, the finale for the preseason, but you never know. I mean, at least for right now, it seems like Tab that Colt McCoy is the starter. If you look at the rest of the guys, I wouldn't even blame them if they brought back Josh Rosen, to give him a second stint with the Cardinals, the way things are going. But you look at the rest of the quarterback group outside of Kyler Murray. Now, mind you, he's still suffering from a ACL injury for Kyler. It's Colt McCoy, Jeff Driscoll, Josh Dobbs, and David Blau. That is the quarterback room for the Arizona Cardinals. That is horrible. That screams first overall pick tanking. That's what it does. I mean, I don't know who the best quarterback out of that class. I mean, that group is. I mean, Colt McCoy, of course, we know a veteran, didn't play horrible. I wouldn't say he was anything great. He was average at best. So you have that, or Josh Dobbs, who I think pretty sure last year for the Titans had his first career start, and he's been in the league for a long time. I don't know when he came out. I can look at it quickly, but I mean, this definitely, once again, this screams first overall tanking. And for the extent for the Cardinals, I don't blame them, because I think overall for the Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray experience, now Cliff Kingsbury is no longer there. We know that was a failure. Looking at Kyler Murray, it has been a failure overall. Due to the team, the coaching, but also I think on him as well. We go back to Josh Dobbs quickly. He was a 4th-round pick in 2017 and made his first career start with the Titans last year. So he's been in the league for a long time. But going back to Kyler Murray, I remember going back to what I just mentioned for Josh Rosen coming out in 2018, he was a 10th overall pick. I feel like for me, I don't think he got a good shakeup in his rookie year. I think it was unfortunate, didn't play well. The coach and everything got fired. And so you looked at the opportunity with the first overall pick, someone we're looking at now for 2023. Yes, I mean, I do agree that Josh Rosen did get screwed over in his career because of that. But I look at it as well, it's like you had a sensational pick in Kyler Murray coming out who was unbelievable. I mean, people had questions with his height, similar that we have with Bryce Young in from this year's draft. But no doubt he was the consensus first overall pick. He was extremely athletic, good arm. It seemed like he could have been definitely a person you can build around. And early on, it seemed like they were getting better each year, and he was progressing a little bit each year. But it seemed like they're kind of like the top of it. The climax of it was 2021 was when they made the playoffs and got absolutely destroyed in that playoff game in the wild card against the Rams. And I think Kyler Murray had like a 4 QBR or something like that. It was something horrendous like that. But looking at it too, the overall scale was Kyler Murray kept missing games every single year, especially in the second half of the season, how he was used, and also the injury, the size concerns. And it just seemed like last year, everything just kind of fell back to the ground, fell from the sky, and it just didn't work. And I see it as a situation where they could just be looking at Kyler Murray and saying, hey, he's not ready to play this year. Let's rest him, get him healthy for the next season, for 2024 season, and try and trade him. Because it's going to be very difficult to trade him now being injured, have him sit for the entire year, tank. You are, if you do that, you are securing Caleb Williams or Drake May, wherever how direction they go, but most likely Caleb Williams. And you can pawn Kyler Murray off somewhere else. You can definitely get a first-round pick out of Kyler Murray. I mean, it'll be very difficult, I think, but no doubt, I think you are more than capable of getting at least a first-round pick out of Kyler. I know the problem is too, adding the contract to it on top of it as well, which is looking pretty bad for the Cardinals' perspective. And also, again, adding the size concerns, the injury concerns. But I think overall, you can at least get a first-round pick out of Kyler Murray, plus maybe a little bit of something else on top of that. But no doubt, the main piece of the trade would be a first-round pick. You trade him off. Probably, I don't know if they would get a 2024 first-round pick, maybe depending on how things play out. But me looking at the best case scenario, you at least get a first-round pick this year. You could be looking at 3 first-round picks in the first round of 2024. And like I said, depending on how bad the Texans are, you could be lining up at 1 and 2, getting Caleb Williams, getting Marvin Harrison Jr., and getting another top prospect in the first round. Or if you want to flip that and have another first-round pick instead in 2025, I could definitely see this definitely sets things up potentially for a great bounce back for the franchise and putting them back into a great direction with Caleb Williams or whatever. But the 2023 season is going to be looking at a horrible year, especially, again, if Kyler Murray is more than likely sitting out. But I'm going to wrap up here. That's my thoughts on the whole Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals situation with the trades and so forth. But let me know your thoughts down below on the whole situation. Do you agree with it or not? Do you think this will work out in their favor? But with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.